morning, and thank you for joining us this beautiful Saturday morning, the first in the month of December. I am Alero Idu.
That's the first in the month of December. Let me. Oh yes, you're right. Good morning, welcome. I'm Ayo. Last Sunday was the first, so I was like, wait a minute.
So what was last Saturday?
Not December. So okay. Yes, you're right.
All right. Thank you very much.
I'm Ayo. Good morning and welcome to the show. So what's
the 753 duplexes in
simply
Abuja?
Because today is 7. You have to start with something that starts with 7. Haba.
I have to. What do they say?
Poetic and rhythmic.
I have to fall into line.
Fall in line. 700. What is it? 53
duplexes. Owned by one person.
That's how many estates?
Who shall remain unnamed?
No, who is better not named?
Why?
Better not named.
Yeah,
a name has been attached to it.
Yeah, but when people steal 10,000 naira, 100,000 naira, they are paraded in front of the
media.
This one is
already being paraded.
But we don't know we don't know his name.
You haven't been reading your news, darling. Yeah, so that's just the thing.
The police should parade him in front of the media
He's
as well.
already not just paraded in front, he's already been paraded in courts. What's your this thing?
Not on account.
And by the way, 753 estates. What
only
maybe always only yes. Maybe we take one to each local government. You know, we have 774 local governments. But
so we know that we only have
4.
We only have a few to work on.
To work on, yes. And the number of others that EFCC has also apprehended.
And mind you, that is only in Abuja. He must have some in Lagos, must have some in other places.
Look, you know, there's this thing that some people say about late General Abacha, that the guy, anytime he notices that Nigeria is broke, you just give us some money. So maybe this person is just reserving, you know, all of this. You know, real estate is very, very precious. It's a good way to save money. Very good way to save money, yes. Because if you buy a property, you know about that. If you buy a property now in another 2 years, I mean, just 2 years, it could have tripled.
It appreciates, yeah, that's true, that's true. It appreciates, yeah.
Real estate, 753, I don't know how much he bought them.
That's a lot of property for one person.
No, and
how can anybody be so greedy?
It cannot be just one person. You must have associates and affiliates.
Okay, cohorts.
Nobody steals money alone in Nigeria. You know that.
Okay, right? All right. Is the Port Harcourt refinery working or not?
From all available information, it's in the affirmative.
It's in the affirmative.
Yes.
Okay.
We hosted a former group executive director of the NNPC, who was in charge of refinery and petrochemicals, Tony Ogwigwe. He was also at some point MD of the Port Harcourt refinery, and he told us in unequivocal terms that it is working. In fact, our reporter also went there, and Kayla read the news while we were speaking to the man. He said, look, he was there the previous day. This interview was on Monday. It was there the previous day, and he can affirm that it's not just working. Fuel is being loaded in and out.
Okay. All right. Well, we're clear on that one.
But the only thing is, the question that many people aren't answering yet, Alero, and it's a lot more tricky. So one of the things that I did that day while we were having that interview was it just dawned on me. Do we have enough crude to process in Nigeria? You must be wondering where I'm going. As at now, both existing and upcoming refineries in Nigeria can process about 1.2 plus million barrels of crude per day.
All we produce will be used locally.
So I will produce about 1.8 as at now, 1.7, 1.8 million barrels per day as at now.
We're targeting over 2 million for the fall.
So let's say we target over 2 million and we are processing 1.2 in the country.
In-house.
That's 800,000 barrels that we're going to be selling.
That we sell.
Are you sure?
Well,
so now
won't some of it be stolen?
That's a topic for a conference that can last 7 days. So that question is still, buzzing in my head. So how are we going to, I hope someone is forward thinking in that direction. That, okay, if we have to process so much, we won't be exporting so much of our crude. We'll be producing and exporting refined products. How will that affect our forex income in the country? Those are things.
Well, I'm sure that the whole of West Africa will be waiting to receive refined products from us. So looking for a market will not be an issue.
No, I don't think we'll have a problem with the markets.
So, but the thing is that, are we making more money from the raw stock, or are we going to make more
from the refined
products?
That's another very good point. Another thing that hopefully will come out of us refining at home are the petrochemicals. These things,
plastics,
they're all made from these things, and so we import all these things. Many of these things are made in one country. Is it in China?
China.
So imagine that we make all of these things in the country. They will move their factory here now.
Oh, talking about China, I read something on, on that place this morning about Chinese men coming to Nigeria and marrying Nigerian women and having children with them. So the children are half Chinese and half Nigerian. And where are they going? And the person who made this video was saying this is a deliberate policy. They want to recolonize Nigeria in no time at all. So these Chinese people who have married Nigerian women can now invest in Nigeria. They can own land and all that. And their children are Nigerian as well as Chinese.
So once you marry a Nigerian, you have one leg in the country. Something came across to me, and that's why we need more forward thinking. And that's, in my opinion, whether it is colonialism or whatever you want to call it, it's forward thinking. Someone, I saw a video, I think it was yesterday, that there was a wall built in this country around the Benin Kingdom.
Yep.
It took 600 years, Alero, to build that wall. 600 years between 80-something AD and 1460-something AD. 600 years to build this wall. Well, the colonial masters, the British came and demolished everything. In fact, the fellow said that wall could circle the United States 3 times. That wall that the Benin Kingdom built across 600 years could circle the United States 3 times. And I know that the United States has at least 50-something states. So imagine a wall that can circle that kind of state, the country 3 times. Yes, the colonial masters came, demolished everything, but the thinking there for me was, it took 600 years, Alero. How many generations are there?
Oh dear.
So they sustained that culture, that vision of building that wall for 600 years in Nigeria.
From one generation to the next, and it continued, it continued.
So it is not that we can't have forward-thinking leadership or forward-thinking vision. It's not that we can't have it. Why don't we? We have done it before.
C'est ça la question.
I don't know what that means.
That is the question.
Why don't we have it? Anyway, so next item.
Trivia.
Yes.
And the word for today is quidnunc. Quidnunc.
Please. Quidnunc. And what does it mean?
An inquisitive and gossipy person.
So, in case you have a quidnunc of a child. Daddy, what is that? Mommy, what is that?
Quidnunc.
Okay.
Are we asking people to use it in...
Yes, please, use it in a sentence.
Okay.
use it in a sentence, and I don't know. I know someone is going to be still be a quidnunky in our conversations this morning. But enough of our own quidnunk here. The state of the nation is the first item on the agenda this morning. Here she goes again. You are not Yoruba. Don't come and mother our language.
Oh, well. What does that mean?
Nation.
Excuse me, I speak perfect Yoruba.
Okay,
and after the state of the nation, we'll be looking at, should Federal Road Safety Corps bear arms? We are going to weigh in on that debate.
Innovation in agribusiness and tourism. That's another conversation we're having this morning.
And then in our lifestyle segment, we're going to be promoting family harmony.
Especially at this Yuletide. Everybody is coming to see Grandma.
And Grandpa.
And Grandpa. The artist of the week is...
Ehi.
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 Oh, okay.
Is a him.
He identifies as a he.
He does, not as a cat.
And his pronouns are him.
Not shim.
Okay, so do me that favor. Grab your cup of cocoa.
Or cocoa.
I got one here. And we'll be right back. Someone who will... Yes, you want to say something?
You finish. You're done.
I'm just saying that we need a quick knock about Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much for staying with us. Now let's get the show on the road. After Ayo has finished quidnunking. There are some in Nigeria who think that our problem is our size, the size of our country, and some others who think that it is the many interests struggling for domination. Others think it is all about bad leadership, while some believe it is the Constitution. Well, whatever it is you think, I'm sure each person, each reason has its
merits, validation.
Merits. But Nigeria has consistently ranked low in World Governance Index in areas such as government effectiveness, political stability, the presence of violence and terrorism, rule of law, and the control of corruption. Some even argue that failure to address the fundamental problem of bad governance will continue to produce the same outcomes. So, what is the state of our nation today? That is very broad, and I'm sure we're not going to be able to cover all aspects of it, but we will do the best that we can in the little time that we have. And to help us do this, it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Abiodun Bamidele, a human capital developer. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Thank you. And joining us from Abuja is...
We're going to have them later. I'd like us to, if you don't mind, begin with Mr. Bamidele.
Okay.
You know, each time I hear State of the Nation, two things come to mind. Number one, when the U.S., the president of the U.S. that addresses the nation.
State of the Union.
State of the Union.
Yes.
The second thing that comes to my mind is military government in Nigeria.
Please don't remind us of those dark days.
But those days had their good thing, because I still say that some of the most, how do I put it, durable
Third mainland bridge
infrastructure that we've had, they are from those generations, sadly.
Because there was plenty of money at that time.
We didn't have that kind of money.
Oh, we had a lot of money.
Third mainland bridge.
We had a lot of money.
In the 70s, yes. Oh, well, Mr. Bamidele, what do you think?
Wow. I was at the lobby watching you and my sister talking, and when you started talking about the wall that took 600 years to build, that got me thinking. And I was asking myself, you asked the question, how many generations will have done that? Definitely not one, definitely not two, most likely not three. But then the question is, how were they able to accomplish that? It shows that, number one, there was a clear direction. Number two, generation after generation were, you know, they keyed into the vision. Into that vision. Yeah. So there was ownership. And anything that anyone owns, please mark my word, immediately you take ownership of something, the journey to success has begun. Now, you were asking, where are we today? You know, you have made my work easy, sincerely speaking, way to your conversation. Now, you said there are plenty interests just fighting here and there. Again, while I was there, you were talking about 770-something duplexes.
753.
I saw that within the week, and it was really sad. Because the question is, at the end of the day, where is the nation in this mix? So, I grew up in Ijebu. Please permit me. And as a young secondary school boy, I lived on the same street with the then governor, Bisi Onabanjo. The street is called Fidipote, for those who are familiar with Ijebu. Ayo, that house is sitting on a land space that is possibly less than half of a plot, of what we call a plot today. Number two, that house was not fenced. I was a young boy from a family that is just struggling to make board. Anytime he comes around, there's no razzmatazz around him. You can see him. These were people who loved their nation. And growing up, I had the story that there's a big market called a Tausu market in Ijebu. You know, it was during his time it was built. And I learned that the contractor that built that project went to meet him to say, we are done with the project. How do we say thank you to you? That suggests two things to me. Number one, there was no padding of that. There was nothing for him in there. Because if there was, the contractor will not go to ask, how do we say thank you to you? You know what we were told? This man said to the contractor, there's a road called Molipa Express Road today in Ijebu. For anyone, I'm saying, you know, I'm on the live, whatever, and I'm mentioning name. The man said, I don't need anything. But there's a part of the city I want to open up. Can you please go and do that road and let that be what you are giving me to say thank you? Now, these were men who took ownership of the leadership privilege they had. It wasn't about how do I become 1,000,000 times richer than I was before I came in. It's all about how do I better the lot of my people. So one thing, I discovered that the generation before and the generation now, one thing is missing. That is love for the nation and love for the people. Immediately we get that back into our narratives. I tell you, we have maybe some of the best brains around the world. Check multinationals that are doing well around the world. You will likely find one or two Nigerians. So it's not a debt of knowing
one or two Nigerians at the top.
At the top, thank you. Yes. Thank you. At the top, making things happen.
Mr. Mamidele, what do you think is responsible for the kind of greed that we see now that will make one person decide to own 753 duplexes. You find, boxes and boxes of money in flats in Ikoyi, money that their grandchildren cannot even finish spending. They are greedily amassing.
Yeah.
What has happened to us? What has happened to the humanity in Nigerians?
It's really heartbreaking. But if you ask me, I would say that this narrative actually begins from home. And this is what I mean. Growing up, I would see my father put on his radio. And on that radio, I still remember up till now, there were some radio jingles we used to listen to. I will say one or two. They are in Yoruba language, and I will try to interpret. You will hear something like, Erojo leheumu, Omo yo shagbafo, onkashowale, Erojo leheumu. What does that mean? Your son is not a laundry person. Your son is not a dry cleaner, yet he's coming home with clothes and materials that are not his. How else do you identify a thief? I don't know if I did justice to that interpretation.
You try.
Now,
B.A. Yoruba.
And then it's on and on. So you will see your parents sit you that I remember very well. Every day as you are coming back from school, you already know it's a routine. Your mother is standing at the door. Everybody, give me your bags. And your parents will take time to scrutinize the content of your bag. They know what they gave you, and they know what they did not give you. And if anything that they have not given you is found in that bag, you already know
that your life will not remain the same.
Your life will not remain the same.
Won't be tied you.
That your life will not remain the same. Now, fast track. We are now in a time when parents sit down and tell their children, I don't care how you
make the money.
Do it. Can't you see your mates? Can't you see even people younger than you? So the craze to prove that we have also succeeded, we have arrived. I think it began from home, and then it builds up into every sector of our daily living.
Okay, Alora, I think you need to bring on the two other guests before I fire my next question.
Mrs. Juliette Benitier, National Transformation Leadership, Women Leadership Expert. She's of the Institute of National Transformation. She's joining us from our studio in Abuja. Good morning, Mrs. Benitier. And
Good morning.
So is Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Monday Ubani. Good morning. He's also in Abuja somewhere. Good morning, Mr. Ubani.
Thank you very much, Alera, for having me. Good morning, Ayo, and of course all our guests that are also with me. Good morning to all of you.
Well, let me go to Abuja. We're talking about the state of the nation, madam, and I know that you've been listening for a bit to the things that we're talking about. I listened to, so let me take it from what Mr. Bamidele said, the comment that he made. I listened to Dr. Samadiyemi talking during their last conference, the leadership conference, when he was saying that innovative leadership starts with love. That is not something that I know is taught in leadership or business school. You don't teach love. So imagine that it is now centralized to talk about leadership and love in one sentence. How does that come across to you? And do you think we're anywhere close to that?
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here again. The reality is that the love quotient at the international level, there's a measurement for what they call the love quotient in leadership. Wow. And the love quotient can be defined in many ways for nations, organizations, and family. And of course, in society as well as the religious sector. But the love quotient for nationhood, because there are pillars where nations succeed. Why nations succeed, there are pillars why these nations will succeed. One of those pillars is the love quotient, but is well defined at the national level as patriotism, love for country. Everybody is created to occupy a nation, and the love for your country determines your development speed, your development capacity. When people do not love their nation, they will not build it. So we have a love issue. One of the greatest, the precondition even for democracy to succeed is love for country. And that love for country has diminished. In the days of my fathers, in the 60s and the 70s, you saw men who loved their country because they were actually taught to love the country. The love of country or love of people is not automated, it is taught. You need to be orientated, go through reorientation as the case may be. And that's why I'm interested in the national, the office, is it a national orientation agency, which we have in conjunction with the Ministry of Information. When we do not have love for country, I don't care what projects we do, what we set to do, we will never succeed. Nigeria is bereft, whether at the elite class level or people who are poor and needy. There is a dislike for the country that is so strong that all people want to do is take from the country for their own personal agendas. No nation will work because love is the base for real justice. For you to have justice in the society, you must love the country to put it in order. And when there is no order, the nation begins to degrade. And so Nigeria needs to recognize that we have lost something down the line, especially because of all the coup plotting, all the military regimes that we actually acknowledge as leadership, which is not. And that's the bedrock of our problems. So when we come into leadership just to take and benefit, the love for country is not there. So Dr. Sam Adeyemi is hitting strong on a development quotient that is being measured today, that love for country, love for society, love for family determines the success of vision. Because vision in itself is something that is birthed out of an individual. If that individual does not have love, that vision will be a lie, because he will operate that vision to the degree of his own. And that's why when you see within the state government, which is where we really have our problems is not at the federal. Our problem is with the state governors. The state governors who own the state, the issue of the Land Act within the state, the issues of agriculture, development plan at its foundation is meant to be handled by the state governors and the local government. Because that's where the touching of the people begins. Where we talk about love for country, love for the people. Where we have development plan because we love them. When you are a leader and you don't care, you don't have compassion, you can't lead right. So truly that measurement at the international level has become a discourse, because they found that the nations that develop, one of the prerequisites to development is patriotism. Whether it's Singapore, whether it's South Korea, and even China. Despite the fact that China is a communist nation, when it came to the economics, the economic atmosphere of China, they began to be more liberal, because the average Chinese has been taught to love and die for China. Even South Korea, as it were, with the poverty there, you see so much love for country, but the love is also something that they are questioning. How much is it that they love themselves more than they love the people? So there is a measurement for that. So we need to look at that in the development plan of a nation. At the state of Nigeria as she is, the lack of love, especially at the elite class, that has the capacity to change lives. We're more interested in contracts than people. We're more interested in buildings than people.
Perhaps one of the issues there,
the love for nationhood is building of people.
Perhaps one of the issues here is, to even know what that love quotient is. I'm very sure that a number of people are hearing love quotient for the first time. Some are very well aware of intelligence quotient. Some are aware of emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, the EQ. But now LQ is now being mainstreamed. That's another conversation altogether.
Yeah.
Well, when you were talking about patriotism and love for country, my heart, well, my mind strayed to all kinds of places. Love for country. It makes you wonder, do the leaders love their country? Do the leaders love the people? When I think about what Mr. Bamidele said about a governor who said, instead of giving me anything, go and open up this area. I want my people to have this. Do we still have leaders who think that way? Governor after governor is being chased when they leave office by EFCC because they have dipped their hand in the till. Does this speak of people who love their country, who love their people?
I like Mr. Obani to take that, because, I mean, he's had to circulate.
It's from Mr. Obani, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't specify. Mr. Obani.
So, Alera, what's the question?
Do we still have leaders who love this country and who love the people who have elected them into office?
It's a very difficult question you have thrown to me to talk about whether there are leaders who actually love the country and also love the people. As my sister has rightly pointed out, the issue of input of love in governance is very critical. It takes love for you to sit down and say, what are the infrastructures that are lacking in my state or in the country that I need to put for the benefit of the people? It takes love for those who work at the airport, not to show high level of hostility when you are coming back from travel, and they do not in any way extort you when you are coming or you are going out. It takes love. It takes love for you not to hide the file of somebody who is pursuing a job within a ministry and wants to have that file moved, and you go and hide that file. That is actually not evidence of love. It is actually hatred. It takes love for you not to acquire property in America, acquire property in London, UK, in France, all over the world, for the sake of your family and family alone, while that money should have been used for the development of basic infrastructures for the benefit of the people. It takes love to do all that. But it takes hatred and selfishness for you to do everything for only your family. You do everything for you people from the same tribe with you. You do the one thing for only those that speak the same language or go to the same church or mosque with you. It takes hatred, absence of love for you to do all that. And so love is a very important input, as you rightly pointed out, in issue of governance. And whether there are leaders who have evidence of love towards governance, you and I, who are sitting down today to analyze this issue, we basically be in a position to answer whether there is that love. Because if there is love, from 1960 when we got political independence up till now, and we started with other nations, and we have seen what other nations have done. We look at the Asian country, we look at other developing nations like India, that we all started together and look at where they are today and look at where we are today. It's not as if they are better off in terms of basic natural resource. We are even better endowed. We have even great men and women who are better educated. And as I speak to you, there is nothing God has denied us in terms of resource, but whether human capital, natural resource. But you and I know today where we are and all that. So you will be in a better position to answer whether we have evidence of those who are in leadership, showing love to the country.
This is what they say, you are serving the ball back to Alero. Is it because you know that she likes tennis? Anyway, I'm sure that this conversation is going in a particular direction now, Mr. Bamidele, because all of the things, what are the things we wanted to talk about this morning? The economic realities that we are dealing with now, the youth agitation all over the country, the refinery working or not working, corruption cases and political upheavals and all of that. But now to make it all a function of love. Yeah.
I would rather use the word that Pastor Adeyemi used, conscience. Let's not use love. Let's use conscience, because he said, what we need in this country is conscience.
Leaders with conscience.
Leaders with conscience. That's enough for us. We'll take conscience. Let's forget about love. We'll take conscience.
Okay, so love is a little mushy, right?
Yes, it is.
No, because the reason I actually mentioned that is because he talked about conscience on Sunrise. But if subsequently at a conference, he spoke about innovative leadership. And he was saying that at the core of innovative leadership is love. That is why I brought that up.
Love of nation.
Love of nation, love of people. You know. But then the conscience element is the thing that can keep you away from owning 753 duplex. Oh, that got you.
I just tired.
So, how do we... Okay, one of the things that's played in my head before, Mr. Bamidele, and you're a human capital developer. So let's speak to that. In order to have leaders who will think about human capital development, we need to have leaders who go through the process. Do you think we have a process for building leadership that can create leaders with conscience? I know we have a NIPS, National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. Do you think it should be mandated that before you can become a leader anywhere in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, all 36 states, all 774 local governments, all 1,500 or thereabout ministries, departments, and agencies at the federal level, and several others at state levels, you need to go through NIPS. Do you think it will help us to create leaders with conscience?
Well, I would say that might be part of the processes later. But I still insist that the first point of call for any person growing up is the home. Now, I remember I was on this same platform some time ago, and I shared an experience. And I want to repeat that experience, because that is where it starts, as far as I'm concerned. We can build on it, we can institutionalize it and all of that. But if we get it wrong at that point, it's already becoming a bit late. Something happened at, within my family setting. We have three wonderful teenagers, and it was a Saturday. So all of them did their laundry and went to the back of the house and put them on the lines. Now, the youngest of them, later in the evening, went to pick our clothes and left the ones for her two siblings. And she was calling them to say, go and pick yours. Immediately, I said, madam, that is already your, go and drop it. Then you go back and pick for your brother and for your sister. Because, you see, self-centeredness, selfishness is actually the center of the greed that you were talking about earlier. When it is all about me, myself. And myself. And if you don't tackle that at that foundational level, it will be attempting to break, to bend, a piece of fish when it has already become dry. If we get it right from that point, then it gets to school system. Starting from NIPS is too far for me. We have already failed. If we are waiting for NIPS to start raising leaders that will truly love their nation, love their community, love people around them. Primary school, secondary school, higher institution, are there programs that need to be built into the curriculum that will begin to make people own their nation. You know, I'm glad that Reverend Julia Benite is on this platform. You know, there was a statement I heard her make long time ago. It has remained with me. She said, angels don't build nations. It is individuals who are passionately in love with their nation and are ready to pay the price that will build their nation. Then come again, we need to redefine success. Even again, starting from the home. I know too well that you might have X number of children. All of them are not going to be the same. One may be strong in one area and weak in another, but let everyone have a sense of value. When you have a sense of value and you are comfortable with who you are and who you have been created to become, it becomes less and less of envy, less and less of unnecessary competition, less and less of attempts to prove that you have also become something. So I would rather say that while NIPS may help, I think we need to make it a foundational thing that grows with us from childhood up to the point where we begin to get to that point where we talk about taking up leadership positions.
That's assuming that the parents themselves even know what to do. Madam, one of the things that I have contended, and I have said this quite a number of times, that how do you parent parents who need parenting? I've said that a number of times. Well, you know, we're talking about national development, and you spoke to the elements, the next tier of leadership in the country, which is the states. We, the citizens, have a responsibility, don't we?
Yes.
What responsibilities do people have, and what are we supposed to do from today in the name and interest of our nation that can improve the state of the nation?
Very interesting question. Thank you. The reality is that a nation is in crisis. The parents may not be the first role or the first runner for a crisis like we have right now, because the parents themselves, many parents have become corrupt themselves. They are the breeders of the corruption that we see in the society, and the celebrators of the corruptions in their sons and daughters, even as they come home during this Christmas season, demonstrating what many people cannot answer, how they got it. And so really, when a society is in crisis, every leader that we have today in Nigeria came out of Nigeria. They are not strangers. Maybe few are strangers, but majority are not strangers. They are Nigerians. So if we keep repeating this type of leadership, it's a proof that the society itself is corrupted. So how does she begin to change? That two-pronged direction that has worked at the international level in all development of nations and the strategic changes that will happen. Number one, the religious sector. The religious sector holds a very important sway to changing the narrative and to raising a new consciousness, like Auntie Alera said, a new consciousness. And that is love for even country and family. The religious sector itself is being corrupted by their own fears and competitiveness. But we can get that back. We have a people who will be willing to raise a new kind of Nigeria. The second sector is education. Not all the education places are being corrupted. There are a few far in between that we can redeem. But with more incentive, the education sector, which I call ground zero, whether you are rich or poor, going through to school, the curriculum. When we say education now, we're talking about the curricula of the schools, not the education, but the curriculum that we use, because we teach a subject called paradigms. Paradigms are created by molds. The molds we designs the mind. If you want the mind to change, you change the mold. So we need to create new molds in schools and also the media. If there's anything powerful today that holds sway over the minds of people, whether at media like we are doing and social media, we need new narratives. We need special programs, day and night, radio station. Instead of playing all kinds of music in the afternoon, we need programs across. But where does that come from? Again, it comes from that leader who say he wants to create change. So we are speaking to all of us. Leaders, wherever sector you are, whether you're a governor, whether you're the president, whether you are the CEO, whether you are in media as a boss, you need to know this country called Nigeria has the potential for greatness because she has all the primary resources required. Many nations don't even have what we have, but they've been able to even process other people's products to increase their value. But we have brought products and people that we can process. Over 200 million humans that we can process. But we are not doing the needful. We must begin to process our people, process the natural resources, and we will get the nation we want. Once again, spirits do not build nations. We can pray, we can fast, we still have to do the work. Angels don't do it. Nations have been built by humans, and we are human beings. We are not less human. We are Africans, but we are intelligent Africans. All over the world, the Nigerians stand out. So there's no excuse why our nation should be where she is, but because we lack the consciousness, we lack the love, we don't care. If we cared enough, certain things will not happen. And finally, the rule of law. As my brother, son, Ubani, and all the judiciary, those in the judiciary, whether internally, externally, as lawyers, barristers, the Bar Association, and all their 9 yards, law and order must come back. There are issues right now that we are having in the nation. If we don't put this nation back in law and order, where the judiciary takes responsibility and is impartial, ready to do even as the Constitution is, and eventually we begin to change it slowly, we need to act now. There is no story. All of us are involved in national transformation. It's not just the president. It's everybody, and we are all failing. Nobody should point out anywhere because we all have our job to do. Where we are you changing people? Are you building people? Are you looking around to the natural resources on how we can process them? Are there laws for us to export? Access to funding? What can we do? We need to do it now, and this is the time. Whatever we're doing, Nigeria is stopping at the fashion industry, she's stopping at the movie industry, but many people don't have access to funds to expand capacity and to bring in the GDP that we need. Nigeria has no excuse. She has the potential, she can do it, but it takes that consciousness and what we call love for country and love for people. And that's the bottom line of what is driving this poverty, the lack in our nation, the self-centeredness, and all of us trying to get titles. It's not about just money. Many of us want the titles. Many of us want to work heavy. We want Rankadede. We want
Mrs. Benitier.
We want all sorts of things. We need to make up our mind and do something different.
Okay. I'm sure Mr. Obani would like to react to what you just said. Mr. Obani?
Yeah, thank you very much. I had issue with hearing all the things she was saying, maybe due to my own device connection, you know, but I heard a bit of what she's saying. Issue of love from the sectoral level. I'm a lawyer, and clients come to me for me to represent them in a matter. I should be able to give my best service to my client with all amount of honesty. That from the sectoral level, I'm a lawyer, I should be able to do my own duty towards clients. I also should be able to do my duty towards justice. That whenever I am defending any case or prosecuting any matter, there must be evidence of the patriotism in that act. There must be evidence of honesty and principle stand concerning whatever I'm doing at every point in time. So also the person that is in the ministry. So also the journalist. So
Oh, wow.
Oh, dear.
also the accountant, so also the banking, that we must begin to do the right thing for the nation, right? It's very, very important. But let me tell you about the problem we're having in our nation, is that if the system has treated you so badly, then you now come up with the idea that, look, there is no way for me to give the best, you know, for that particular country or society. So there must be an inbuilt mechanism that you must give everyone equal opportunity and justice. I was frustrated in a particular case I was handling recently, where there was a court order saying somebody should not do certain thing, but the person went ahead to do it, and I involved the police. And police, I gave them the court order. I said, look, this is a court order restraining somebody from doing certain things. And he shouldn't do it because of law and order. Police went there only for a call to come from a higher authority, asking that thing that the court has restrained from being done, that they should go ahead and do it. And in that wise, how do you now want to be patriotic? How do you want to show love to that kind of a country that have denied you justice? So most of the young ones in the country today, they are really, really aggrieved concerning the system, because the system has refused to give them justice. You finish from university, you will not get employment. For those from the rich family, those who are big, their children will be put in the position either in central.
Oh dear, we lost him again.
Well, interesting angle that Mr. Obani is coming with there.
But you have first class in the university and the system do not evidence of showing love to you. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Are you hearing me, Ayo?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
We can hear you.
I'm saying that there must be an inbuilt mechanism. There must be an inbuilt mechanism that shows love to citizens, that you can get justice, that when you are patriotic, you are going to be rewarded. Remember that there were some politicians in the 80s and in the 60s that when they had issue of financial problem or when they were sick, they were neglected. Meanwhile, they served the country with all their interest, with all their heart. But they have run into problem. They haven't stolen any money while they were in governance. But they're now having issue and the country neglects them. So how do you now really advise an incoming politician to show that level of patriotism by not acquiring so much wealth in case, for the rainy day? But if the system has been built in such a manner that it's justice everywhere, justice for the poor, justice for the rich, justice for everyone, there is no way any person will not live to love the country. Americans will say, God bless America. The same thing with the UK. They will say, God bless the Queen. So why is it that we're not saying...
Mr. Abani, we also say, God bless Nigeria. So the long and short of all this is that we need to think more about conscience and love in governance. We need to think about meritocracy. We need to think about law and order. All these, starting from when we are little, from primary school.
That's right.
Based on what Mr. Bamdele has told us this morning.
I understand that there are a number of messages that are coming in. A number of people are very much interested in the conversation that we're having, and I think we should take one or two of them. Because really, at the end of the day, as we always say here, we are all we have, right? Oh yeah, and that's why one of the things I like about the song that we started with this morning. We're all we have, and the least we can do is show love to our country. Well, Festus Akimboyewa is saying, human capital, human capital, human capital is the main thing we need to transform our country. And we must pray to have leaders who will focus on human capital development and not on personal aggrandizement. Our country is suffering today because of lack of human capital development. And as Kiddish Money says, as Tola says, state of the nation, everyone needs to create spaces for other people to lead and love Nigeria. The number of spaces to excel is limited, and so the competition for the limited spaces is responsible for our low productivity and bickering. Interesting. Is that why people take what doesn't belong to them? I don't know. But I'm just saying, all I can do is ask questions, right? So allow me to ask the questions. That's it.
Well, like I said at the beginning, I mean, there's no way we can exhaust this topic in, 30, 40 odd minutes that we had. But this is a conversation starter. And this is the much that we can take today. I'd like to thank our two guests who joined us from Abuja, Mr. Monday Ubani, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Mrs. Juliet Benitier, Women Leadership Expert, and she's of the Institute for National Transformation, and we had Mr. Biodun Bamidele, Human Capital Developer, with us in the studio in Lagos. Thank you very much, lady and gentlemen, for coming to share your thoughts with us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Sunrise will return in just a moment, and we'll be looking at another interesting topic. Stay with us.
the words of that song just said, it's because we don't know our time. That is why we are troubled. But you don't have to go before your time. And that's what this next conversation is about. Because the FRSC Corps Marshal Mohammed Shehu said recently, particularly concerning the FRSC bearing arms, you would have expected I want to talk about road safety at this time, Ember months, December in particular, but no, that one is a constant. We need you to be alive. Don't go before your time. The another thing that can take you before your time is a gun fired at you. Yes or yes? So
yes and yes.
Should the FRSC bear arms? The FRSC Corps Marshal says it's a delicate matter because, according to him, in the act that set up the FRSC, there is a provision and emphasis to have and to hold arms. We're not asking for arms to do enforcement. We're asking for just a squad like other paramilitary agencies, Customs, Immigration, NSCDC. And the idea is to protect our infrastructure and facilities. Does that mean that they won't be on the roads? Let's have a conversation this morning with two ladies and gentlemen who both have been in this safety business for quite a while. Bolanle Edwards is here. She's founder Strap and Safe Child Foundation. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And we also have Patrick Adenusi, who is the Director, Safety Beyond Borders. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Aya. Good morning.
Please, when we start our drama, just don't mind us. We have a history. Madam, should the FRSC bear arms?
Yes and yes.
And yes.
Yes and yes.
Okay. Same question to you, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Okay. Why? What do they need it for?
Well, not the entire FRSC as it were, but I think just like you introduced earlier in that a special squad should be set up within that entity that should carry arms.
What for?
Protection of the lives, properties, and of course, much other things. You see that FRSC most of the time are quite vulnerable on the highway. We've had cases of guys, FRSC guys being knocked down, killed. Statistics between 2016 and now says that about 431 of them have been killed on the highway, and about 631 have been injured. So for me, I think the statistics is quite staggering. And it's not good. One death is bad enough, and it will continue like that if they're not properly equipped and armed. And people see them as people who do not carry arms anyway, so they are vulnerable and they can attack them at any point in time. I remember so very well the NSAS that happened some few years back, and how they went into all the sectors and damaged their equipment, their vehicles, and there was fire in the buildings. They had to run for their dear lives as well because they knew that they don't carry arms. So they would do anything. I think at best they have the OPC guys who guard them once in a while. So I think, again, that they should carry arms. A special squad amongst them should carry arms.
But Mr. Adenusi, there's been that time. I mean, according to the Corps Marshal, you already have a provision that says they could. That's what he has said. So why haven't they been bearing arms?
Yeah, well, I am aware that some of their personnel have been trained, and because we're also in a democracy, the fact that it's in the act, it still needs to be discussed, bearing in mind that they are all out to serve the people. Just to follow up on what Bola just said also, beyond the fact that their facilities and their properties and their vulnerability is the fact that the terrain with which they operate is also very deadly. FRSC operations does not end in the city. most rescues, when there are incidents, especially interstate, vehicles run into the bush, some fall into ditches, and they have to go into those bush and those ditches to rescue the people. Privilegedly, I drive anywhere I go in Nigeria, and one of the times there was an accident between Ijebu-Ode and the border town in Ondo State, and the vehicles went into the ditch. So I was passing, so I saw them, so I stopped. So all of us were going into that ditch when we saw this very nice, robust, handsome snake. I dashed.
When did snakes become nice?
And robust and handsome.
So everybody took off, so we all ran back out. We stayed. After like 5, 6, 7 minutes, so someone said, the way we ran, that the snake also ran. Taken off, so I didn't continue.
No more first responding.
So I didn't follow them anymore. But you see, they go out at night to rescue. I'm aware that this Otedola Bridge, the days that we used to have incessant crashes, when they go there, hoodlums have attacked them severally, because they wanted to loot the goods of some of those crashed vehicles.
Okay.
So yes, they need to protect their properties, but the life of every FRSC official is as important as you and I.
Isn't that throwing in the towel and saying, we admit the police is inefficient, the police cannot help us, we admit that every security agency must carry on because the primary agency that is supposed to ensure internal security is unable to do it. Isn't that what we are doing here?
Not really. When you go to the West, the police are armed, the border security, the coast guards, each of those agencies, they have sections that bear arms. Just like the Nigerian immigration have sections, they have a squad that bear arms. Nigeria Customs does. Nigerian Security Defense, NSCDC, they do. So even in the military, not all military personnel bear arms. The people in the medical department don't bear arms. The people, the engineering corps don't bear arms. But the artillery, they do. That's what they have. So have we gone off on the account that, the police are not working? No, not really. The police are doing as much they could do. What's the strength what's the strength of the Nigerian police? Nigeria is actually under police in terms of numbers. So do we now take a special squad or take some of the police that are insufficient, just like we now have some boys and girls going around with escorts? If we pull armed people from the Nigerian police to now be the cover for FRSC, how many do we have left?
That also raises a question of collaboration. But let me ask you, madam, because he just mentioned the NSCDC, and that's one of the other issues that I was going to raise. Okay, so the NSCDC has been bearing arms over time. Some Nigerians always wondering, so to what effect? To what effect? So how will the FRSC bearing arms change the price of sliced bread?
You see, the need for them bearing arms cannot be overemphasized. Like we said, it's very important because of the kind of duties that they carry out. You will find them on call on the highway. At times, they would have to be the one to. At times that the critical position and spaces where even the police will not want to go. There are some places in the last 5, 6, 7 years now that they said that even you won't find police on that route, but the FRSC guys are there, and They are having to face the risk daily. Some of them face this hoodlum. Of course, they don't have anything and all of that. So really, you can't overemphasize the need for them to carry arms, because you still have those guys. It's not all of them, but a special squad can have that opportunity and, you know, privilege of doing, of securing their lives and property. And we're not saying that they should act insanely when they carry these arms. They also have to be trained. And we have the reports that they have actually been trained. We have trained FRSC officers already on ground.
I can hear one Nigerian now saying, well, even the police is trained now, we still know what we get.
Well, you can't stop training.
They have been trained and they're just waiting for this bill to go through.
Absolutely.
So how far has this bill gone, Mr. Denusi?
Well, I think the National Assembly, the Senate section are done with it. The House of Rep are the ones that are fine-tuning. They will also be having, I learned they will be having a public hearing sometimes next week in this regard.
Will you be there?
No.
Okay.
I won't be there. So at the National Assembly are actually already at work, and I do believe that, just like Ayo asks, how does their bearing arm affect the cost of bread? Yes, it will. If a truck carrying flour crashes or breaks down somewhere, and they are the one who somehow are the one that gives the cover for that, those materials will not be lost. Because if I order any of these ingredients, for example, and it damages in between, I'm going to spread the cost on what I will be producing subsequently.
Absolutely.
So when you go to the US, for example, you see policemen at locations where you least expect. They just park their cars and they're just there.
Yeah.
So FRSC used to do that some years back. They can, between Lagos and Ibadan, they might park their vehicle like 3 different spots. As you are coming, as you sight the vehicle of a policeman in the US, you just take your leg. You take your leg from your accelerator. For that minute, you are born again. Even when you are on the regular speed, recommended speed, you just back down a little and you change lane and you go. The same thing used to happen here previously. So today we are talking about, vehicles are excessively speeding. The FRSC officials want to stay between maybe Redeem Camp and Shagam. And sitting in their vehicles, FRSC officials have also been kidnapped. Yeah. And somebody comes and just rake them in, and they take them hostage.
Absolutely.
So the loss of one FRSC is enough concern for me as a citizen of this country.
The question is not, okay, again, some Nigerian out there is saying, NSCDC has been bearing arms. I don't feel any different. If anything, once I see anyone carrying arms, this person has been empowered to kill me, or to intimidate me, or to harass me, or to overwhelm me. It's just a small segment of the police I will call SARS. Just a small segment that we call SARS. And every time we talk about NSARS, it is because of that. And NSARS, you would remember, took about 5 to 6 years before it came to a head in 2020. Now, if we're saying just this small selection, it's just looking at all the variables to ensure that things don't go awry. Certainly, it's bad enough that any Nigerian is found in harm's way, much less a security operative, because the FRSC is itself one of the security agencies in the country. So it's only this small segment in the police that bear arms, the way they bear arms, special anti-robbery squad, SARS, and we know how that has gone and how it has affected Nigerians. What's to say that this FRSC force FRSC or whatever you're going to call them, it's not going to go the way of SARS.
Okay, you see, SARS intimidated people, there's no doubt about that, and we can't discount it. It did happen. And one of the things that led to it is the fact that I think it started with all these Yahoo boys and all the likes and so on. From just the look alone makes you interested. You want to know what he's doing, where he's going, what does he have, and all of that. And it is that crack. Most decently dressed people were rarely harassed. I'm not saying they were not harassed, were rarely harassed. I drive around in this country. Just some few days ago, I was driving somewhere. I just came out and I saw a police checkpoint, and I stopped and I said, look, where you are now is not safe. A vehicle is going to run either into you or the vehicle that has stopped. I've done that across this country, in bends, in hills, in some slope. I'll stop. I'll tell them, look, gentlemen, you are doing your job, but this is not a safe place to do this. This is me, I am a safety practitioner. So you're staying here, you are not only endangering yourself, you are endangering the motoring public. So in the same way, I do believe that arming a squad, because of the need for it, will not necessarily be a disadvantage for the citizens of the country. Now you said, oh, a Nigerian out there could be saying, what have we benefited from NSCDC bearing arm? They patrol and police our pipelines. You are sleeping in your house. Those guys are, how often do you hear now that pipelines are vandalized? Previously, it was like this. We're just hearing, oh, one pipeline has been vandalized at so and so point in Ijibu, in this, in that. So NSCDC has taken that as a responsibility. We no longer record issues of pipeline vandalization as it used to be.
Well, we still record issues of crude oil theft, but to go on.
No, the crude oil theft. the crude oil theft happens in the air. You know, so
that's for the big boys.
And that's beyond the scope of NSCDC and FRSC. You know, so the NSCDC, I mean, they crack down on the guys that are vandalizing pipes. So we no longer hear that. Little disruption to our petroleum supply chain. Trucks that move petroleum products, they are out there monitoring to ensure that they are not being diverted. So the fact that we are not seeing them walking does not necessarily mean they are not walking.
Well, there is an issue that he raised, Ms. Edwards, and that is people who are decently dressed are rarely. I don't wear dreads, but you know, and you know, that there is something they call profiling. Yeah. He looks like a Yahoo boy. So if they see and didn't know that Pastor Jimmy Odukoya is a pastor, the fact that he wears dress qualifies him to be arrested, stopped, and his laptop searched.
You see, really, I'm not of that school of thought. I mean, it's not good. It's not good enough. That's not good enough for you to totally profile somebody as somebody who is bad. We have a lot of young guys who come into the country, and I can tell you for free, I tell my nephew at times, I say, please, come roll and all those things. When you're going out, make sure there's somebody driving the car with you. So we actually give them that kind of, memo. Please, this is what happens on the road. But on the flip side, they need to be trained and retrained. You can't continue profiling people to say that their looks determine that they are bad people. They're not bad people. Almost everybody is in dreads now. A pastor is in dreads. You see this one in Cornwall and all of that. So that cannot. But I can also tell you a good experience that I had on the road some years back, and it was a SARS, squad that saved me from that scenario. Would have been really nasty. I took an Uber and was coming down from Third Mainland, and he had a tire burst. And the next thing, and the driver was just clueless, and he was just taking his time, putting the C caution before we could say anything. These good guys, Lagos good guys, were all over us, surrounded us, and they were already obtaining from him. They took the spare tire he was going to use. They jumped over to the other side of the road, and they wanted to just collect money from us. Broad daylight, 4 p.m. And the next thing, I didn't know where the gunshot came from. They had seen us, and they reversed, and they shot in the air, and those guys just disappeared. This was SARS. I mean, I wanted his name. Said, no, madam. They waited. They did everything, make sure we moved from that spot, and we were safe and secured. How about that? But every Nigerian in their head will think that, oh, all SARS, they're bad people.
Oh no, we know that not all SARS are bad.
This is a feel-good story that is not often told.
Exactly.
And I wanted to tell the story.
It doesn't happen often.
It doesn't. And I wanted to tell the guy's story. He said, no, ma, we're doing our job. And those guys just disappeared, and we were safe.
Will it help if road safety officials also start wearing dreads?
I don't know about that.
Mr. Denusi, if it happened often, we would get to hear about it, because it is not a usual story to tell.
Is it good things rarely get publicized?
In this case, it will get publicized.
The negative,
because it is unusual.
Is it the negative does? Look, that you have one small Mali like that they call passport, and it is green. Anywhere in the world, there's a spotlight on you because you have a green passport. In the same way, all Nigerians are not crooks, but just an insignificant number did some things that they shouldn't do, and all of us were paintbrush, airbrushed, water brushed,
everything,
brushed with the fact that all of us are crooks. I went to Bangladesh. As soon as they saw my passport, the guy just stood up, he was just talking. Nigeria. And so they just pulled me aside, and I was just laughing.
Wow.
And they took me to the office, and the head of the team said, where are you from? I said, I live in Singapore. So he looked at me. He knows where I am coming from, that what he thinks I could be doing, is
death
outright
sentence in Singapore.
In Singapore, the signs are on our buses. They say, you take drug and you are caught, you are gone. There's no negotiation.
Yeah.
So I said, I got your visa from Singapore. I live in Singapore. So he said, are you sure? So I gave him my passport. He just flipped and looked at it, gave me my passport. I said I should go. So if I was coming from Nigeria, I would have been treated differently. But because I got their passport from Singapore, I was treated differently. In the same way, if you look at the FRSC in question that we have been talking about, FRSC is the most civil uniform corps in this country. They are the one you won't see their uniform is being used to drive down food or ride Okada. They are the one that you will see, you won't find to use their uniform to drive Uber. You won't find their uniform worn at bus stops, extorting from people. So look, we understand the environment and the world that we now live in today. So common sense must be placed on the table to ensure that things work well.
Mr. Denusi, are you indirectly telling us that the FRSC is made up of very disciplined Nigerians?
Not all of them.
Not all of them. They are the most civil. There's most
civil.
There is civil, but they are the most civil.
Okay.
I mean, some of them have been provoked to some point. I saw. Okay, let me give you an example. On after the gas station in Maryland, Onibungo bus stop, this FRSC team were there, and some guys just came and stopped and said, "You guys should leave the town." They said you should leave the town, and they were pushing them.
Wow.
Pushing them to their vehicle. So I saw, and I stopped, and I came down, I walked to them, I said, "What's going on here? Young man, what is the issue?" He said, they said they are not supposed to be in the city. I said, "Who said? Do people die on this road?" Have you ever seen or heard of any accident happen on this Mobolaji Bakantoni Road, this that goes to Ikeja? He said yes. I said, okay, so when the accident happens there, are you the one that rescues them? I said, look, you guys are not thinking, or you're not reasoning well. But look at that dimension of assault. They were pushing them. It's not that I read this in the paper, I saw it. So, look, I don't think we need to keep exposing the men to this level of abuse. But much more is the terrain with which they walk. Their rescue operation happens day and night. Their rescue operations happen not only in the city, some by the roadside, some in the bush. And they need to be preserved and protected. Even those, as you said, sometimes they have to encounter very handsome snakes. Yeah. The
handsome.
What? It was nice. The color was, it has very nice color. Please.
We said words.
Yes,
so here we are, and we're talking about this now. And a number of people may be sold, already on the idea of the FRSC bearing arms. But there are those who are still as apprehensive as they come. So long as you wear a uniform, and so long as you work with or for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or even any state, even ordinary neighborhood watch, people are apprehensive.
On the edge.
Back in the day, people are happy to see a policeman in the 70s.
Yeah.
Someone is there to protect. They call them Olokpa in Yoruba parlance because they don't carry guns. They only carry batons. That's it. Today, the mere sight of a policeman, whether he's wearing any armor or he's not wearing any, he could be hiding the arm in his skin for all the care. Now, what are the things we should be telling people about a road safety unit bearing arms on the roads? People are generally apprehensive when they see even FRSC on the road today.
Yeah.
Without arms.
Without arms. So what are the things to sell to people to help them to get to understand and embrace the idea?
Good question. Change, people resist change all the time. And I know this is going to be a tough call, and we should be ready. When things like this happen, Nigerians already, we have our mindset, which is fixated. And we don't like to, anything that has to do with, everybody's on the edge, like you said. And we're all very apprehensive, we're on the edge, we are we are defensive all of the time. So I would think the proper thing to do first is to sensitize. There should be a lot of sensitization. Advocacy also is in a good place as well. Educating as well, because people need to be educated to know the reason why they're doing what they're doing. Because they just didn't wake up one day. I didn't think I would be on this divide talking about them carrying arms. If I wasn't probably in this ecosystem, I probably would have said the same thing as well, that I don't think it's good for them to have it. Because Nigerians already, as it were, we're all we can't, any slightest situation triggers off so many things on us. And like I was discussing with Mr. Patrick the other day, I said, you see, mental health checks also have to be proper perspective, must be checked. Whoever are those people who are going to carry their arms must be well trained, be trained and retrained. The mental check must be also, mental health, is a big deal these days. And please, they are not exception as well. They need to check what is going on within them. Every Nigerian needs to be in a safe space and a safe place. So we can't emphasize the need for education, sensitization, advocacy, and also training as well, so that Nigerians are prepared, so that when they see them, they're not in the defensive mode all of the time to say, oh, now we're seeing armed FRSC on the road. Bad enough that the uniform already put them in a very bad light. When they see them, they're asking for unusual things. Typical Nigerians won't even want to answer you. The next thing, a policeman stops you on the road and is asking you for your driver's license. Why are you asking me for a driver's license? Can Nigerians please be calming down? can we just please breathe? Can we calm down? If you go to other Western countries as well, you don't question them when they ask you.
The only thing is,
they don't question you.
It's not really easy when someone, the first question the person is asking you is anything for the boys. Mr. Patrick.
The anything for the boys guys are there. They will forever be there. I mean, okay. What can we do about them?
As a sequel to that question, so what happens in the event that, okay, they now bear arms, going on the streets? Generally, you are forcefully stopped in most cases. When you don't want to stop, you just kind of move on. Now, with arms, it is not going to be paquet. Now, what happens in that regard? Do you think, would you recommend a kind of a monitoring system that will ensure that the road safety officials, that the segment that bears arm is not doesn't carry unnecessary high hand over the people?
Yes, a few years ago, you can do anything in any corner and go away with it and nothing happened, and very few people know anything ever happened. But these days where people have dash cameras, there are body cameras, there are glasses that people just wear and they are walking on the street, you think he's just walking, there are cameras in it. So we have been seeing things that were done in the public space. And I don't think FRSC will be immune to that. If there are excesses, we will see it. Many years ago, when NSCDC requested to bear arms, there was also resistance. Oh, they are going to be intimidating Nigerians. They are going to be pushing Nigerians. But today, they bear arms, and it may have happened, but I have really not really heard of NSCDC officials intimidating Nigerians on the highway.
But you know, as you said, they walk in the bushes. They work on pipelines and all. These ones, they will be in the full glare.
As it relates to FRSC, a lot of Nigerians are yet to have a full grasp of what FRSC really stands for. An FRSC person stops you and you say, can I have your fire extinguisher? I want to see your fire extinguisher or your triangular warning sign, your extra tire and the likes and so on. You're like, okay, it's my car. So how is that your business? It is his business on the account that you're not having it endangers others. Today, globally, it is that 3,500 people are killed across world roads. Nigeria is not excluded. People are being killed in Nigeria daily also. By the statistics of FRSC statistics, at the very least, about 14 people are killed daily on Nigerian roads. WHO's estimate is that about 100 are killed daily on Nigerian roads. So recently, some of these insurgents, they began to fire into a vehicle that was coming in their direction, and the vehicle ended up crashing. They took all the people on board that were not injured and left the injured. And why, as they were going, they were shooting. FRSC men were already alerted. They went there, but as they were going close, they began to hear gunshots. So they pulled back. Being unarmed. So they stayed until they no longer hear those gunshots. Then they went to rescue. Some were dead. So if we had the squad that bear armed with the FRSC team, oh, this has happened, and they also go, those guys fire some shot and they also fire, they will move quickly and then help. So you never know when it will be your turn. An accident is an incident not planned for. There is nobody that wakes up and says, okay, I want to go and get accident. It's an incident that is unplanned for, and it does happen. So if it happens, the team that is coming to rescue you, what if an armed team stops them from getting to you and the unexpected happens? Is that when you will now come and start complaining? You'll be gone. So I do believe strongly that when we know the path that FRSC is actually not there to intimidate you. They looked at your vehicle and say, your tire has expired. The tire has expired is the truth. That tire can explode as you are going. And then an explode tire on motion, you are not only endangered. Right. Other motorists, you could swerve into the path of an oncoming vehicle and you kill them, and you that actually caused the incident may not even be injured. So the FRSC's basic role is to keep you and I alive.
You know, Mr. Adenosi Patrick, yes, I don't even know which one is your son anymore now. You know, you say that the road safety is to help people do better. But sometimes, I know people who have, just the way you apprehend just anyone along the road, who have also had to confront road safety officials and say even their own car tire is expired. That sometimes their own indicator lights do not work. So as Alera and I were saying earlier before the program started, he who must come to equity must come with clean hands, in their own case, blue car. So sometimes they themselves, we need to start from home. That's charity, right?
I have not found one, but I can say that it will be very, very rare to find an FRSC vehicle that does have a non-functioning traffic indicator light, headlamp, tail lights, and worn-out tires. It will be very, very rare. Compared to other agencies...
You want to go there?
I want to pass there. I don't even want to go there alone.
Police cars with no lights. No rear lights.
That's police. I didn't want to mention any specific agency. But that's why I said, unlike other agencies, you see no tail light, no headlamp, the vehicles are dented.
No, those ones. It's the criminals.
Badly dented. So when you look at any FRSC vehicle anywhere, the physical appearance tells you the others should work.
I have seen, Mr. Dennis.
You have seen the one that the tail light is not working?
I have seen the one that is not up to date.
The one that brought me this morning is in good order. An FRSC vehicle brought me this morning, and it's in perfect shape. I wouldn't have entered.
See, it is because you guys are, I'm an ambassador with the FRSC as well, so I can tell. But when we see these things, we cannot but mention them.
If you see an FRSC vehicle that the tail lights are not functioning, each of those vehicles, they have control number. Maybe it's 2.1 or whatever. Please just take it. I have not seen. So I will not say you have seen. I will not contest with you that what you saw is not true. So I believe you. But that's why I said it's very rare.
You also said that sometimes they are in the bushes. You won't see the one in the bushes, will you?
I don't fly. I drive. I drive around Nigeria. I drive to Damaturu. I drive to Sokoto. I drive to Kano. I drive. So I interface and I interact with them. I will not look anywhere, anytime I'm traveling, I see any patrol team, even if it is for 10 minutes, I will stop to encourage them. I do. So I can't contest with what you saw, but it is very rare that an FRSC vehicle will not have functional lighting. Very rare. It's possible, but very rare.
Now, it's not also to say that, I know we're just spending extra time on this, just so people have an understanding. Now, you said something the other time, and I'd like to bring it to you. He said earlier that people are still struggling with the true identity of the Road Safety Commission, the Federal Road Safety Corps. The Federal Road Safety Commission, what their functions are. Of course, we know that this was back in the day, many years ago. I think it was it Abacha or Babangida days, when the idea came up that, look, there's so many road crashes, people losing lives and all those things, and it was started by, I think it was Professor Wale Soyinka, succeeded by Oluwagri and a number of other heads of the agency over time. And it has become an institution that people have come to respect. There is absolutely no doubt about it. So what then would be the reason why it's still difficult for people to identify where they're coming from? Is it because people have had little confidence in them over time? Where would you situate that?
I think it's from a part of unknowing, because you must have knowledge is knowing something. I think we assume a lot in this part of the climb. And again, I think there's a lot of confusion out there. There was a year like that, if you remember, Mr. Patrick, when we had all the uniformed men under one roof. And we just wanted every Nigerian to know exactly who does what. Every uniformed person, agency, that day, just speaking to the core of their responsibilities, that who is FRSC, who is LASMA, who is VIS, and all of that. So really, I think if they are speaking from the point of knowledge and they know exactly what FRSC, then again, I think FRSC also should come, because they educate all of the time. They're on the radio talking about what they do and things like that. I think more education and putting out information out there is also very important from their own side, because they have a department that does that. I think they need to reorientate Nigerians as well as to what they do and their responsibilities, and what the citizens also need to do in response to what they do. If an FRSC comes and asks you some certain documents, don't question it. I mean, all you can say is, oh, fine, this is what you do. I had no idea that I'm supposed to have a fire extinguisher in my car. Not just a fire extinguisher, but a functioning one that is not expired. And you Nigerians are wondering again, why should you really be asking me if my tires are expired? After all, I'm the one driving it. An FRSC officer will be the one to educate you that your tires have amount of years that you're supposed to use it for. Before, even the gas cylinders that we use, we were saying it on the radio the other day, they have expiry dates. So we're putting out this information. So we don't need to get so confused. Can we also go on Google, please? And as Google, AI, chatbots, they're all there. What does FRSC do? What are their duties? If FRSC is not coming out to say it, and we are trying as an NGO as well to also, encourage them to probably do more advocacy to the entire society, so that they can. I mean, nobody will just wake up one day and just want to come on the road and start harassing you for no reason. They just want to be safe. That's all.
Well, we have a comment here from Eke Awa. The problem is that they don't stop and search commercial vehicles.
I know, right?
They only collect bribe. Their focus is on private vehicles. Charles Anazodo says, why are we then debating if the FRSC should bear arms, since it has already seemingly been decided that they will? Our officers in whatever capacity are not capable of responsible behavior when armed. Maybe Nigerians should be allowed to bear arms as well for their own safety.
You want to respond to any of them?
Yeah, well, we make jokes of very serious things in this country. If they are bearing arm, all of us also should be bearing arm. Somebody is collecting bribe and so on and so forth. Well, we live in this space called Nigeria. The guest you had before us, they spoke about Nigeria and my country. I must do better for them. And how many of us are doing that? So I have not paid bribe once, and that is not to say that people are not. So I won't say that it doesn't happen. Unfortunately, they say it takes two to tango. There is the giver, there is the receiver. If you ask me, if I don't give you, so what happens?
Then you're going to lock me up or impound my car or something.
I go the route. I was driving, I was coming back from Abuja some years back. And between Ikwele and Owo, my car caught fire. I was the only one in the vehicle.
Wow.
My fire extinguisher had expired. I didn't know. But fortunately, I was able to put out the fire. Now, when you look at that, nobody taught me thereafter to have a functional fire extinguisher in my vehicle. I drove in Onike. There's this road in Onike. As soon as I went into the street, somebody said, "Oh, it's one way." I said, "But there's no sign." So I stopped just at the beginning of the street. And as I was about backing up, some armed men showed up and said,
from nowhere.
You are driving against traffic. I said, "Well, there's no sign here." And then they now went and used their hand to turn the sign for me now to see.
Oh dear. So
I saw it and I laughed. And I said, "This is no longer a sign if it's the back that I am seeing." Now, knowledge, like Bola said, 99% of us don't even know what the road signs are. Okay. We cannot interpret it, and you are moving a vehicle from point A to point B. So I told them I didn't see it, and so I didn't violate it. And we went to their station. They took me to their station. And I said, "I want to see your DPO." The DPO is there to attend to us. So when I explained to him, he said, "Hey guys, I've been telling you people." And so they left me. But when they stop you, if your first is attack, "Why are you stopping me? Why are you stopping me?" Yeah. So his own adrenaline will also be pumping. Absolutely. Just like yours is pumping. Yeah. You stop me. There's nothing wrong with us at both ends being civil. I've been stopped by police in the US. They pulled me up and I stopped. He said, your tail light is not on by 3 a.m. I said, "My tail light is on. This vehicle has the running light." He said, "No, it's not on." I said, "Well, you saw the back. I didn't see the back, so I believe you." This argument stopped. But an average black man that is stopped in the USA, "Why do you stop me? What are you looking for?" The same thing. We have seen some of them in movies and in YouTube. So we too we're also adopting the same strategy. But I do believe strongly that FRSC is here for you and I to be safe, and more advocacy will be done. I'm a road safety person, so okay. I run road safety campaigns. I run an NGO, so I'll keep talking.
Bola, is the vehicle inspection unit part of FRSC?
Yes, they collaborate. But FRSC they're not the one producing driver's license. No, a lot of people.
No, she's talking about vehicle inspection.
Okay, vehicle inspection, yes. Yes, is an arm of, they work together, they're in the same premises.
Vehicle inspection.
Is it part of
FRSC?
Road safety.
Road safety.
Yes.
They're part of it.
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Yes.
Now, vehicle inspection is the responsibility of vehicle inspection service.
Which
the one we call
separate from the Federal Road Safety
different
Commission.
From Federal Road Safety. It is state jurisdiction.
Okay.
Just like your driver's license and your vehicle, your plate number, your vehicle license, they are state. So the vehicle inspection is state.
Okay.
Federal Road Safety Corps, by the virtue of what they do, their role, that vehicle that is inspected by a vehicle inspection service person, theirs is to ensure that it is functioning.
Okay. What about the driver's license? Who administers that?
The state. The state, everywhere in the world.
But why is it that we go to the Federal Road Safety when we want to get our driver's license?
No, you don't go to the Federal Road Safety
compound.
It's just that you are in the same compound.
Same premises.
But you are in the same premises. The state issues your driver's license. If you look at your driver's license, the issuing state is there.
I know it is a state.
The shop is just in the same compound.
Which agency gives that?
VIS.
Motor Vehicle Administration is actually in charge.
Motor
Vehicle Administration. They are the one in charge of issuing your driver's license. And now the arrangement now comes tripartite.
Yes.
FRSC is the one that prints the driver's license for quality and control.
They print.
The vehicle inspection service, they are the one that actually tests the driver. the motor vehicle administration is the one that issues the license to you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I do.
we need a series of Instagram carousels on this one. Thank you so much, Mr. Adenusi.
You can come to my school. I'll train you.
So thank you very much. You have started advertising again. Patrick Adenusi is Director of Safety Beyond Borders. Thank you so much for your time, as well as Bolanle Edwards, founder, Strap and Safe Child Foundation.
Thank you for having us.
Time this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, hope you feel safer. We'll be right back for another conversation.
Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now there's a huge traffic jam on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which is affecting our guests showing up this morning. So you will just bear with us.
And that also to add to that, it's outward Lagos more like, and there's been a diversion to the only road that people can use now, clogging the entire route altogether. So that's... what's the word? Traffic update. Some of you right now. So you're wondering, what's happening on the major highway? Someone asked me this morning, what's happening on the highway? And I said,
yes, someone did.
Yeah.
Someone did.
Who would ask me?
Extra large farms. That's where we are at right now. They have a major vision of raising a generation of passionate farmers, who will feed the world with healthy, organic, natural products, as well as provide a sustainable platform for financial empowerment for members through food and the agricultural business. Please welcome Mrs. Moji Davids, co-founder and managing director of Extra Large Farms and Group of Companies. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having us. Good morning. Happy weekend.
What is this about farming? And I saw a commercial just before we came on, and I saw some rooms with beds that were so inviting. I just felt like jumping from my seat into the TV just to go and put my head on those pillows.
You tell me that that's a farm.
That's my question. You say farm, and then you're showing me very comfortable beds.
Mr. Mama is always asking.
What is the connection?
Thank you so much. It's
Kilo con bed, kilo con farm.
Thank you. Waiting concern Agro with over.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So, what brought tourism into agriculture? It's about value addition. We're adding value. We're trying to redefine how farming is being conceived. You know, because generally when you talk about farming, like I always say, people are thinking about poverty, especially in this part of the world. You know, it's not so much like that in Europe, America, and other places. But in Nigeria, in Africa generally, once somebody even introduces himself as a farmer, you even without seeing the person, you already have a picture of a very poor, tattered, dirty looking, to the point that there's even an adage in Yoruba language where they say, you know, they just feel it's something that when you don't have anything else to do, and when things are not really working for you, then the next thing to now think about is agriculture. No, it should be the first thing to think about. And that is exactly what we are doing at Extra Large Farms. We are wearing a new apparel for agriculture in Nigeria, and that starts from all our members. It starts from our office buildings. It starts from the food we produce. We want you to see things that are coming out from farmers, and you're like, really? So farming can be like this. And that explains why you see that touch of luxury in the farm resort, you know, and you're even here on channels, you're like, let me just finish this program and get my...
No, she doesn't want to finish this program. She just wants to jump from
this seat now.
Let's go.
Onto that bed.
Let's go.
So now tell her, where is the farm and where is this thing that we're seeing?
Okay, thank you so much. So this one you're seeing is the resort. It's actually our second resort, Extra Large Farms and Resort. That's our second location. We had the first one in Arabia here in Ota, about 3 minutes to Canaan Land, Covenant University. But then we have this other one about 35 minutes farther. It's an integrated farm, you know, where you can come around. And I need to really talk about, you know, how it came about. But talking about the location, we are located just on the Otaidiroko Road, just that express road. We're just on the express by the right. When you're going towards the border, like you're leaving Nigeria, you know, to the likes of the Colonial and all that. So we're just on the express. And the idea of that resort came about after all the different challenges that we encountered trying to set up our farms in the beginning. By the way, it's our 16th going to 17th year in farming now. And we discovered that every time we leave the farm, so my husband and I, you know, we're always there trying to solve one problem or the other. But every time we leave, we can't always be staying on the farm, for God's sake. But every time we go, before we come back, there's a problem. Especially during harvest. You harvest a little portion of the land, you go. By the time you come back, some unseen forces have helped you to harvest it further. That's great losses. You know, there are a lot of things. So we decided we're going to have a very comfortable home in the farm. So we won't always have to rush back home, you know. So we tried to bring, what is it that we really need? Oh, you want to bathe with hot water, you know, you put on, just press a switch, your water is running. You want to see a movie, you know, you want to eat good food, you want to stay in the air conditioner after being beaten by the sun as a farmer, you know. All those things we now try to bring onto into the farmhouse. It didn't only help us as the farmers, but it also helped our workforce. You know, so we were struggling at the time to even get people to work on the farm. But immediately we put all this little luxury, you know, everybody just wanted to stay. Even neighboring farmers would come, everybody wants to charge their phone, everybody wants water, everybody wants electricity. So we saw it brought life to farming. Yes, this is what we've been looking for. Wearing a new apparel for agriculture, this is where it starts from, you know. And then it also helped us in, you know, maximizing more profit, to be honest. It gave us definitely more efficiency and more profit. So establishing that in the farm for ourselves and for our workforce, then later when we started running trainings for people to come to the farm, come and learn about this, come and learn about that in farming, then we discovered even after the training, people don't want to go. They like the idea of, I'm in a farm, I'm chilling, the air here is fresher, the food here is more natural and tastier, you know, there is no noise. You can imagine you are in a place for 3-4 days and you don't get to hear the sound of a horn. No car horn.
What about the animals on the farm? The
animals don't have that kind of noise.
The cows don't move?
The cows move, they are not where you're going to sleep. You even love the sound. It's like guitar to your
I'll tell you something interesting. Last week we had 3 young people with us on set. They're taking part in this channel's reality thing called Fund It Forward. And one of them, a young man, is a farmer.
Great.
And he brought a bag of rice and a bag of soy, which he showed to us.
Great.
I'm a proud farmer, he says. A very young chap. How many young people are you sending this message to come and learn how to farm properly?
Thank you very much.
In a modern way, so that farming is not a chore for them.
Yes. Thank you very much. So we've started that even from the schools, your kindergarten, your nursery, primary schools, and then we've taken it further to the tertiary institutions, and for even, you know, those who are just coming out of school, internship programs and all that, because we believe that these people are the future of Nigeria. And agriculture is also a major player in the future of this country. So we have to find a way to connect the future leaders and the future business, you know, together. So we're training people, we are bringing them, but we discovered that these people, they call them Gen Zs now, these people don't like stress. These people want to enjoy their life. And that is one of the reasons we have tried to make the farm resort as beautiful and as luxurious as it can be. So you can imagine having a part of Dubai in an African farm. That is exactly what we've done. So with that, you can have them stay for a whole year. Everybody wants to be a farmer. There's good life there, So we're inviting everybody. Yes, you can go on holidays, you can do this, you can do that, but this kind of life is different. You want to see the village. Somebody was at the resort yesterday, flew in all the way from the US, and he bought a property actually in our farm resort. Is one of the things we came to talk about today, how people can, plug themselves into an opportunity to make money transgenerationally, by becoming a part of what we do at Extra Large Farms and Resorts. So this man came in all the way from the US just yesterday, and he was like, Madam, do you know the last time I saw a mango tree, a cashew tree, And he was just so crazy about it. He went to the palm kernel and he touched, and he said, this is fresh palm kernel, for God's sake. He went to the rabbit tree, it was just all over everywhere, went to the ostrich and everything. And immediately after that, you're checking into your room and you're confused. You're beginning to ask yourself, was this where I saw all those local things just now in a few minutes, and then I'm transitioning into another place. So it helps us not only to preach agriculture on a soft note. Soft is the key to the young ones, but even to the adults. Nobody wants to suffer. At the end of the day, that's just the truth of the matter.
It's just that we have to eat.
We just have to eat.
And that the thing is not going to
nobody really wants
to manufacture it.
Nobody.
But speak to the investment part that you talked about earlier, because I'm sure some other people will also be very much interested.
Yes.
And I know Alero is interested. She just doesn't know about it yet.
Because the last time I took down your number and I was going to call you.
Oh, please.
But I haven't got around to it yet.
Let's talk business. So between 2020 and this year, 2024, Nigerians, I don't want to say Nigeria, Nigerians expend a minimum of $10 billion on domestic tourism. Even for the international tourism, we have only 860 million annually going into international tourism. But what we do within the country is over $10 billion.
Wow.
So we are giving people an opportunity to tap into that opportunity. It will help us to create more jobs. It will positively impact on the health of the people. I've seen people come into our resorts with one health challenge or the other, but just staying over 3-4 days, everything is changed. The kind of food you eat, the kind of air you breathe, and all that, it has a lot. So, but we have a vision, we have a projection to attract into the resorts, Extra Large Farms and Resorts, not less than 1 million tourists every year. And within Lagos and Ogun State alone, we have over 45 million people. And
how many rooms do you have?
Thank you very much. That brings us to the question. So it's not about how many rooms we have at the moment. It's about how many rooms we are creating every day. So we have this package that helps people own a home right inside this commercial city. Companies come a lot for their corporate retreats, for their annual general conferences, for their staff trainings. Families come for their vacations. Groups come for their parties and whatever. A lot of people come in also for training or just for farm excursions. So we're dealing with 1 million tourists annually. And we're having at least 10% of that figure having a cost to stay over for minimum 2 days. For example, a Friday check-in and a Sunday check-out. That gives us about 100,000 people to provide accommodation for who are going to stay on the resort. These people are not going to come for free. They are paying. And that figure I just estimated now is grossing about 31 trillion, in revenue. And we are giving people this platform to tap into this already existing and profitable business by owning a home in the resort. Why? Number one, you need a holiday home for yourself. You're tired of the hustle and bustle of town. So you need a country home, somewhere you can travel, down to and feel very relaxed. You are going to achieve that by owning a house in Extra Large Farms and Resorts. I hope the video will be playing somewhere so people can.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Everyone is
there it goes
enjoying
again.
Yes. Then the second part is a lot of people who have all these country homes, Yoruba, for example, oh, I have this house in Ijebu, or I have this house in Abeokuta. You only go there once in a year, maybe Christmas or Salah or whatever. All the other parts of the year is being locked up. It is not wise and smart. It is not such a good financial decision to make. Now, you have this home in Extra Large Farms and Resorts. You are coming there for your own holidays. It's a country home once in a while. But when you are not there, you are authorizing us to give it out on short-let rentals to vacationers as they are coming. And you are making your money every night. It's far, far bigger than what you can earn on general rentals, even out of town, because this is a commercial city. This is a holiday, destination center that people are coming into. So we are giving them the opportunity to own those homes. We have the 2-bedroom apartments, we have the 3 bedrooms, and so on and so forth. So you own it for yourself, yes, but you also earn. Let me give you a typical example.
Approximately how much does it cost?
Thank you. Like a 2-bedroom apartment costs just about 45 million naira. And on this same 2-bedroom, you're paying between 150 to 200,000 on rental per night for the people who are renting it per night. Now, we have 52 weekends in a year, for example, and we will be very untrue to come out here and say, oh, your house is going to be booked all the 52 weekends in a year. Not every day is Christmas. Yeah. But if we are doing an average between 25 to 30 weekends in a year, and you're earning an average of 150,000 per night, that means for a weekend, you're earning about 300,000. And for 30 weekends, you're earning about 9 million naira on a property you purchased for just 45 million. Plus, you're eating your cake and having it, because as people are coming, they're renting your house, you're earning the money. But you yourself still have the opportunity to make use of your house at any time you want. That doesn't happen when you build commercially for rental. Once you've rented it out to the tenants, that's the end. You can't have access to the house anymore. But here, it's both ways. Eat your cake and have it. Then the third one that is very important is, how is the house maintained? Who takes care of the house? Who does the upkeep? Who does this? Who does that? The guy I was telling you about that came in from the US yesterday, bought a property there in June, July this year, and he came, everywhere was so clean, everywhere was so maintained, it was looking top, because you have an interest in your property, but we also have more interest in your property because it's situated in our resort, so the house is always, properly maintained, cleaned and everything. Electricity is 24/7, housekeeping services. It's a serviced apartment, but it's your house,
Any payment plans?
Definitely. Okay. So this December, there are lots of things that we are doing as we're celebrating. This is the time of giving and everything. So for everybody who is listening to me this morning and they want to be part of this opportunity, I want to own this house that you're talking about. You want to choose a payment plan, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, whatever, is up to you. But because this is Christmas and you're calling immediately after this show to indicate interest, we're going to have a very powerful session on Zoom tomorrow by 8 p.m. Nigerian time, where we'll be talking to people just within 45 minutes, 1 hour, on all these opportunities and how real it is, And for those who can even send people down to the resort, let them come and see by themselves. But the bonus we are doing now, for everyone who is going to call me today and be a part, I want to be a part of this. With a minimum deposit as low as $1 million, you've already started the journey, to owning the house.
How much?
Of 1 million naira.
1 million.
Yes. Guess what we're doing? For that 1 million that you're paying, we are dashing you another 1 million naira bonus, because it's Christmas. So everybody has the opportunity. And there are some people who are like, oh, I can't really afford to own, to really, maybe purchase a whole. Is there a way I can co-own with somebody else and something like that? We have those type of arrangements. And then for people who are looking
Mr. Davis, let me understand you. So those who call today and deposit $1 million, you will give them $1 million. So the balance they have to pay on the 2-bed, for instance, is 43 million.
Yes, please.
Correct.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I heard you. I'm just, as you were saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, and for those who are looking for where is the perfect place for this festive period, Christmas holidays, New Year holidays and everything, Extra Large is the place to be. Honestly, you can't have it better than this. And then we're also having a session on the 3rd to 5th of January. We call it Focus Holiday. You know, so we want people to, especially for senior executives, you know, business entrepreneurs and all that, we want you to take the first weekend of the year to focus. It's an holiday, you're coming to enjoy yourself, but at the same time, you will be able to, you know, plan, drop strategies and all that. And we have a coach, business coach, who will be on hand to help people, you know, strategize for their business, set out goals, you know, and see all the things that we are doing. Don't forget that it's not only about tourism. Don't forget this is a tourist attraction center. It's situated in a farm. So it's impacting a lot on agriculture. You know, now this resort is helping us to do Agric better, to be very honest. And then we also are producing over 21 different food products, all your staple foods, void of chemicals. Those are the things that we do in Extra Large. So you are coming in for tourism, you're coming in for agriculture, you're coming in now, it's as a part of real estate in it, and then you're coming in for healthy living through food. Food foods are saviors. You know, there are certain things you can eat and your health will just
I was going to take you up on that.
Take a positive turn.
So, do we buy food in the resort?
Yes, please.
We buy food
What?
on a farm.
No, I don't understand.
Produce of
the one
produce or
is it on the house? The people
As a
who
guest?
come, yes.
As
a guest.
Yes.
All those things, yeah, it's a farm, but we're paying workers.
Oh, really?
We're paying salaries.
Asking. Hey, I'm just asking.
Okay, I read something here about a food spittle. What's that?
Thank you. So the Extra Large Food Spittle is it's a pioneer name. I'm sure you've never heard that anywhere before. So it's an hospital, let me put it that way, that takes care of different kind of health challenges just with food. Not even herbs, food. So the truth of the matter is every food item created by God has a deposit, has virtues of healing. Look at all the components of food products. You see it contains vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin whatever, all those things put together. And those are the same things you're looking for in the drugs that you take, you consume. Now, the only problem why people don't get the values, the nutrients, the deposits in those foods is because most of the food, even before they come out as, you know, final products, have been bastardized with the use of chemicals, starting from the farm, excessive use of fertilizers, pest control. There's this one, I can't mention the name on TV, but there's this pesticide, you know, that they apply on food, your beans, your catfish, and all those things. The one
starting with the S.
But yes. Has anybody ever wondered that nobody, even though it's done a lot of, you know, whatever to people's health, but nobody can go directly and hold that company or sue them or do whatever because they didn't advertise the product as a food pesticide. You know, it's actually an agricultural pesticide as it's been used in a certain proportion, you know, on the farm. And there is a withdrawal period before you even, when you're harvesting, you know, before you harvest, there's a withdrawal period you're going to apply those type of chemicals before the food gets to the hands of the consumers. Okay. So the moment all this food comes across with all these chemicals and everything, it destroys all those nutrients, all those deposits, and you end up eating shaft. Okay. So what we do at Extra Large is to give you food the way it came from the soil. 100% natural, no chemicals, no preservatives, no flavors, no colorings. So you now end up eating ordinary gari. I was so surprised one time we had people from Association of the Albinos who came to us seeking for cassava because it actually helps them to see well in the afternoons and it helps them not to have those black spots on their skin. It is that powerful, just cassava.
Someone told us when we were growing up
Ordinary palm oil. People are all over the place.
You will not see well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, you will
eyes.
not see well because you are taking those ones with very high cyanide content. So there is a way to eliminate that cyanide content, but our people are not patient. So the fastest, the easiest way, the only way to get rid of the cyanide content in the African cassava is to allow it to ferment for between 3 to 5 days. And then you get rid of that inner skin, apart from the brown one. You have to get rid of that before you process. But what happens in Nigeria is somebody's harvesting cassava in the morning, and by 6 p.m. that cassava is already in the Oshodi market, they're selling it. The cyanide is full there. So when you take that type of one, your eyes is going to be disturbed. You know, ordinary palm oil for people suffering glaucoma, it's a way out. People are suffering from asthma. There are things. Ulcer, radish, you know, tomatoes, okra, all those things, they have their healing deposits. But do not allow it to come in contact with any form of chemical so that you can get the best out of them. So it's one of the things that you enjoy when you come to the resort as well.
Because somebody says, this is good. Where is the exact location?
Otaidi Roko Road in Ogun State is 35 minutes away from Covenant University in Ota. That's the location of the
30 minutes
resort.
before Covenant?
After.
30 minutes
heading
after
towards
Covenant?
Idiroko, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of produce do you have on the farm? I know that cassava is one of them.
Yes, we are majorly into cassava. We are majorly into palm production. Palm is one business that every Nigerian should go into, I tell you. Giving you the opportunity to, you know, continue to earn for over 40, 50 years without having to replant is something we have to look into. Right on that farm location, we have close to about 100,000 palm trees that are already fruiting. You know, so we harvest and we do all that. We're also into some form of livestock. We have our cattle farms. We have our rabbit tree.
So the fruits is what we call banga in Delta, right?
Yes, yes, and that's what gives you.
Somebody is visiting you real soon.
Banga soup.
So I think I need to call out our numbers at this time. Somebody's itching for 2 things or 3. Number 1, remember I said there's a Zoom meeting coming up tomorrow.
Yep.
By 8 p.m. Nigerian time. Everybody's welcome. You don't have to pay to attend that. You know, you want to be a part of what we're doing. You know, you want to. This $10 billion that is flowing in the air, how can you have a percentage of that to yourself? And not only to earn the money, but also help us to employ more people and to solve, at least in our own little way, this issue of food insecurity in Nigeria. Somebody wants to be a part of that. You want to be a homeowner in the resort. You want to find a way to be part of 1 or 2 investment opportunities that are there. You need to call these numbers. Then the second set of people are looking for, where am I going to holiday this season? Whether it's for Christmas, for New Year, company retreats, whatever, anything holidays, think extra large farms and resorts. Then the third set of people are people who are looking at, what is it that can give me financial freedom in the year 2025? Agric, tourism, food and health. We've combined four major necessities, and you're coming to be part of that. The first number to call this morning, just send, what do you send now? Okay, so for those who are interested in just the holidays, did you just send holidays to 0818 220-3453. So we're going to run the packages for you, whether you're a couple, you're single, you're a family, and these things are so cheap. With as low as 200 or 220,000, you have like 3 days holiday with all your feeding, with all the tours and everything.
It covers food.
It covers food. It covers your accommodation. It covers.
Not square.
Round, fat, king-size meals, you know. And there's a lot of activities, like, for example, the Christmas. We have the Christmas Eve bonfire party, you know. Imagine this. This is
how many people will these 200 and something cover?
A couple.
Okay.
A couple. A couple. So if you have maybe a couple and 2 children, you just add a little extra to cover for their feeding, you know. So you're interested in the holidays, 0818 220 5553.
5553.
Yes.
0818 220 5553.
Yes.
Okay.
Then for the opportunity of the home ownership, you will be speaking with me directly on that one. I want to feel you, and I'm owing you that 1 million naira as announced on TV this morning. So somebody needs to give us a chat on WhatsApp. He said home ownership. You know, just send it to us like that.
0817 160
yes.
6021.
21, yes.
Oh, you have that one.
You got it already. 081 71 60 60 21. 081 71 60 60 21. And somebody's looking for financial independence in the year 2020. I have a testimony for you, sir.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think the last time I was here, somebody watched this program and then just plugged in. So we had 2 weeks after that, we had a summit somewhere at Victoria Island. He came around, saw everything. My good news for you, because I know you love to empower people, is that this fellow, just watching this on TV, plugged into what we're saying without any startup capital, sir. He didn't have to pay a dime to be part of what we were doing. And as at 3 weeks ago, we were checking his account. He even had to make a withdrawal of 5 million naira of what he had earned without a startup capital.
You need to explain that further.
Without any startup
So what
capital,
did he
just
do?
watching and, you know, following the trainings and everything. There's opportunity everywhere. There's opportunity for you in the food business. Like I said, we have 21 different food products to our name, and they are the normal staple foods. We are into fada rice, we are into plantain flour, we are into beans in all levels, we are into local, we are into palm oil, we are into soya oil, we are into groundnut oil, we are into the best gari you have ever, you know, come across. Tapping into all those opportunities with the network you've already built for yourself. Somebody's watching me right now, you have a phone, you have contacts on your phone, you're already a millionaire. You don't even have to open a shop or an office before you can start business with extra large funds. That one is there. Secondly, the opportunity of this home ownership. Somebody's watching me right now. You don't have the money to own the house, but you have an uncle somewhere, you have a boss, you have somebody, you know. You are the one conveying the message to that person. You are earning good money.
Well, we will get more details when we send messages to you on what are those numbers again?
081 71 60 60 21. You're interested in the home ownership, or you want to join our Zoom session tomorrow by 8 o'clock, you don't have to pay. Or you want to collect this 1 million naira that I'm owing, just okay. So let's define it. So the 1 million will be only for the first 50 people who are getting across this morning or afternoon.
Okay.
Yes.
Extra large
71 60
farms and group of companies.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for
you.
coming to tell us about your business, new innovations in Agric business and tourism.
Yeah.
Mrs. Muji Davids, co-founder and managing director. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We wish you all the best
Thank
this
you so
season.
much. Thank you.
Stay with us.
Feel like we're just a couple of quidnunks here, right? Just chatting away. Well, we also told you that there's been some traffic along the way, expressway today. This segment we're bringing to you now ought to have ended a few minutes ago, but it is here now. And it's a very important conversation, particularly in December, where there's going to be a lot of traveling, moving in and out of family houses. So family harmony is what we're trying to talk about here, which enables family members to work together in a supportive and constructive manner, aligned with the shared values of the family. And I don't know whether that's the angle that will be going this morning, but of course our guest is here. Deji Shoumi is a family systems engineer. He is right here in the studio with us. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. Morning, sir. Good morning, madam.
So
it's good to see you.
I think compliments of the season is in order, right?
Yes, they are.
So why is family harmony an important discussion or conversation at this time?
Yeah, at this time, the festivities themselves, they bring in the stress because everybody there's already something mental in there that, it's the end of the year, it's the Yuletide, it has to be good. And when you're like, it has to be good, then there comes the anxiety. How does it get good? In this economy, are we prepared? The children will be home more than usual. The parents who work from home are thinking, those 8-9 hours I used to get for free might not be there. It's so many things then. It's the shows, the fun, the activities. It normally brings more tourists into Lagos, for instance. So there's more traffic. There is a lot of expectations. Children are waiting. Your spouse is waiting. It's a lot of things. So at the end of the day, the celebration
Daddy, buy me Christmas dress. Daddy, buy me Christmas shoe.
You are sleeping as a parent and it's on your mind. So at the end of the day, the fun you are expecting to bring and those who you want to make it happen for might end up stressing you.
So while they're in harmony, you are in disharmony.
You might not be in harmony.
Because in January is another school feast time.
Oh dear.
If you are the type, and I hope everybody is, that plans forward, you know that after the Yuletide, it's smiling time. And for those who have their rents and other things lined up in January, as well as school fees.
No, it's not wise to have your rent falling due in January. No. So it is wise not to overspend at Christmas.
Exactly.
Because whether you like it or not, January it is school fees.
And not just that, January is the longest month of the year.
It is because maybe next week you collect your December salary.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, so go on.
And for that particular reason, December and January, because of the way we are in Africa, we love family naturally, and we love to give as well, even at our own risk. I would say we spend more in December and in January for that particular reason. All that amounts just to stress. I will always keep on repeating it. People can go on about infidelity, emotional issues as much as they want. Finances will tear you apart. If you are not prepared for it, it will. So there has to be support systems. There have to be ways to go around that. That's why we would make it a topic that today, family harmony in times of Christmas or the Yuletide, because it's the Christmas and the New Year, is important. And I would like to look at it from like about 4 or 5 perspectives. I would like to look at it from spouses and from the end of parents, the children themselves. What can you do? Your environment, because it can be a contributing factor, and the whole family.
Okay. So so essentially from what you're saying, it means that there is a role for each class.
Everybody to play, yes,
in all of these. We can almost say that the job of the couples or the heads of the homes are cut out for them.
Sure.
And as far as the children are concerned, it's none of our business. Mommy, I want rice and chicken. And I understand.
Plus Christmas shoe.
Christmas shoe. That chicken itself is not smiling these days. So, what are the safety nets? Let's start with the couple.
Let's start with that. Let's start with the couple. It's a cliche. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's not as simplistic as it does look, because we all lay claim to know that particular saying, and we still don't adhere to it. We leave a lot of things to chance. We don't plan. And our planning does not stem from the fact that we don't really want to plan. It stems most of the time that we don't know how to have conversations. Rather, we know how to scream at our partners. We know how to shout at our partners. We know how to blame our partners. We know how to pick at the things that are not going well. But to be able to sit down and say, I see you. I see what you've been doing. I see what you've been doing well. And we need to keep on doing that. But we need just a bit more. And if you can't have a bit more, then we have to limit our expectations. So you need to communicate those expectations ahead of time. So the first thing to do is to have a conversation. That this Christmas, what are we doing? Are we staying in the home? Are we traveling? What do you want the kids to learn at this time? What do you want our family to do? What are we scheduling? Then, once you're able to take that out, you go to the financial recourse. Okay, if we travel to the village or we go home to have the Christmas, what are the implications? What does it cost extra to do all of that? Because just like when you get married and people say bye-bye after the party and you're on your own, it's the same thing too for the Yuletide. If you spend all that money at that time, you have bills to pay in January. You have bills to pay in February. And for those of us who don't do paid employment, whereby we are our own employers, it's not all the time that this money is coming, and you expect that your clients also might not be paying you to do some particular work in January, February. So you might have to save that money all the way to March.
Oh dear.
You have to plan. It's very key to plan, because this might affect your holiday, your happiness in just a few weeks' time, just because we have to have a balling Christmas. So it's the conversation, it's the financial outlay that the couple need to
I think
know.
they can always determine the size of the ball, right?
Yeah, they can.
It says a balling Christmas. They can't decide. If they wanted a basketball, and they can't really afford a tennis ball.
At times it's just a ping pong ball that works. At times it's just even a die.
Smaller than a ping pong.
Smaller than a ping pong, a die. Not even the two, not dice, a die. Or a pin.
What's important is a ball.
Have an agreement on what it's going to take. And we have a saying where, in my circles, you don't have to die for your partner to live. Please share these responsibilities. It's important that you do. From my childhood, I think up to the age of 10, we will sit down normally and look at the family album, the pictures, and so on. And my mom was never there. It was weird, but it was a pattern. She's never there. So one day we sat and talked about it, that you're never in these pictures. What are you doing? Then she gave us that look. And we were like, why are you offended? I just asked a question. Why are you not in pictures with us? Then she told us the story of how we were always sitting down, laughing and entertaining, why she cooked, why she arranged the drinks, why she made sure that the food was served, why she made sure that all those things were done, making sure that she took her own second bath at 4:30 p.m. when the party was about to round up, just in time for the cake cutting, while my father and ourselves just played away.
Enjoyed.
So share the responsibilities so that your partner does not eventually resent you. That's what will happen. They will resent you. People think it's about the gender roles. Men are not supposed to, women are supposed to. No, it's not about that. It's about two human beings living a life. If there is imbalance, there will be issues. Okay. Then, lastly, I would say intimacy time is important.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about
that's for the couple, right?
Yeah, for the couple.
Okay. You expatiate on that for a bit.
Okay.
Well, just quick information.
Quickly run into.
Now we have a conversation on tax reform, the role of public relations in fostering constructive dialogue for national economic renaissance. It is taking place at the Stone Age Hotel in Kaduna, and we're moving there right now particularly for our DSTV audience. And so if you still want to stick with us on this conversation, you can do so on our YouTube live platform. In the meantime, just so you know again, tax reform, the role of public relations in fostering constructive dialogue for national economic renaissance, is a paid event that we're transiting to on our DSTV platform alone right now, which is holding in Kaduna. But the conversation continues here. So this intimacy about couples, because once people hear intimacy.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of intimacy.
Exactly. That's why, for the sake of daytime television and children, I'm not going to go into express specifics. But this intimacy leads to that intimacy. This is about alone time. Take a stroll if you can, even if it's in the compound. It's all about finding time together. Share a story, share a drink.
Be somewhere together where the kids
that is
are not disturbing
Thank you. Alone time. That's what it is. Alone time. Intimacy time. And it leads to that intimacy as well.
It can lead to whatever else.
It might lead to wherever.
That is the block that people normally have. It's like somebody who you are not consistently in touch with. Then 3 years later, you need a favor. It's going to be awkward. And they probably would say no. No. Because you did not water the ground.
So don't even bother to ask.
Yeah.
So it should be expected. Okay. So next?
Next, the parents. As parents now is a little bit simpler. Simplify the traditions. Don't do too much. We've told, in my own house, we told the children, we've even gone window shopping, they want to bake. They just discovered some things on YouTube.
Thank God for
and they're like, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to do that. They'll be looking forward to that. And they are going to do it. Because these are moments whereby we are going to be in the same room at the same time sharing this. We will probably feel like we tried to make a cake a few months back and it was supposed to come out like this, but it came out this, like this, and I think almost black instead of brown.
But it was fun.
But it was fun. Yes. And we still remember that moment. So make the decorations. If you're not going to buy the decorations, or like in my house, we've been keeping these decorations for about 13 years now in pristine condition, and every year we buy 2 or 3 more. Put it up together. It'll be fun. Or make some. I taught them last year how to make a rose from folded tissue paper. You tie a string in the middle, then you bring it out. Those crafts that we did. If you can't, it's easy. Go on YouTube, 5-minute crafts for the family. Intentionality and creativity holds the home more than people would ever know. It's not really money. It's about what do you want? And like I said, it starts with that conversation. What do we want for the home at this particular time? And find fun ways to do domestic tasks. Get 2 brooms, start sweeping for beer, and tell your son, anybody that gets there quickest, packs it, and there's no dirt in there, gets a cookie. It's not about the cookie.
Or turkey.
Or the turkey, if you want to be so generous.
Why? I just said or turkey.
Yeah.
You're just looking at me funny.
Turkey.
Turkey?
It could be anything. As in, just make sure that you are doing something together as parents. The children will crave that time more than anything. We went out to a park one day and I was telling them, because they seem to think I am from some very backward village and I lived maybe about 200 years ago. I'm like, what do you mean asking me if we took shoes, if we wore shoes when we were in school? Where do you think I come from? What do you really think happened in my time? It's not that bad. But when we go out and I tell them that, oh, for some reason, you are calling this the almond tree. But when I was a child, as a Yoruba boy, we called it Igi fruit. And it was like, fruit tree. Dad, can you hear yourself? You are calling a fruit. I'm like, that was the name, and I'm not even joking.
No, you are even nice. You didn't call it Furuntu.
Yes, the proper name. The proper name. It's Furuntu. That is the proper name.
Yes.
Yes, in Yoruba language. Yes.
Furuntu. What are you talking about?
Well, I never heard that one.
Then my daughter likes Star Cherry, Agbalumo. She's the one that made me know the name. I don't know what Star Cherry is. I'm like, Star Cherry, it has a name. I thought it had a Yoruba name. Agbalumo. It always was.
Yes.
And she said, African Star Cherry. I was like, there's a name for it.
African what?
Star Cherry.
Star Cherry.
I'm like, that's the name? It has a name? Okay. Thank you.
Daddy, what bush did you come from?
But the thing is that putting our time together was fun for everybody, and they remember that particular stroll in that particular park more because of the memories we shared and the gist we had, more than that pack itself. So it's not about what you're buying for them. Spend time with them. Schedule it. People need to know planning is more important than most of the things we are going to do.
Okay, now we have just about
parents.
We have just about 3 minutes.
Oh, we gotta run. As children, listen to me. You know how you thank God, and not because you exactly want more, but you are able to journal and are grateful for all the great things that come your way. Please just be thankful for all the things you have and forget about what you don't have, because your parents sacrificed to get what you have. It is not our duty as parents to tell you what we did to get you what you are. But at times, I think with the way life is going, we need to involve our children in our budgeting and in our family discussions so that can groom them for their own time. But be grateful. Because if you're not grateful, or you are always stating your wants, all you do is to break our hearts. Because we are trying so much for you. So we continue. I have a box. You might call it junk from a distance, but it's letters from my children when they were young, what they did, the cards they made, thank you, Daddy, Father's Day, and all that. That's what it is. Here, people might say, oh, he's trying to be fashionable, but I'm wearing memories. This is the strings from the face mask. My daughter made this. I said, I still carry it around. This is from a friend, this is from my wife, this is from the family, this is from the family, Father's Day. They just tied something and gave it to me. But they love that, it takes pride in it. And this is emotional support for me. I wear them everywhere I go because I'm carrying memories on my hand. So it's important that is done. So children, participate in domestic activities. Help your parents. Do things with your parents.
Are you cold or blushy?
I'm just
I think it's what that she
soppy.
likes. And
soppy.
Yeah,
I like that.
Family is mushy.
Yes, it is.
Just let them have fun. That is it.
All right.
Lagos is stressful. Don't travel. I'll advise you
if you don't have to
during this time because there's a lot of traffic.
But no, beside that is
avoid stress.
The cost of traffic, the transportation, and the cost of 1,000 naira plus fuel will teach you what to do.
And what so much together? Have game nights. Do Kahoots. These mobile devices, they're not just harmful. They are also helpful for the family.
Absolutely.
Kahoots is free up to 10 users.
Okay, I think we can even expand it.
Yeah.
To whatever else.
If you
Thank you so much this morning. Well, I hope you've taken notes. If you didn't take those, please watch this recap. It's going to be on YouTube as well. Just so you know, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And there's a repeat at 1 a.m.
Well.
Yes, and there's a repeat at 1 a.m. today. Nigerian time.
So GMT, West African time.
Did you show me? Family Systems Engineer. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much, both of you.
And you at home, thank you for spending this morning with us. We hope to bring you a new edition next week. I'm Alero Edu, wishing you a happy weekend and compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season indeed. And if you happen to have been locked in traffic, compliments of the season to you as well.
And don't forget, on the 21st is DSS.
DSS. Yes, here. DSS, here. Whatever you want to think, please, you have my approval. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Bye-bye.